I've gone over 470 plus days cumulatively on NoFap and even cured my corn induced ED in 1 week. And this is a problem that I dealt with for years, and now I help men achieve similar and the same type of results in half of the time. Now, in today's video, we're going to talk about what happens if you leave lust unchecked and how to flip this around to turn it into something that can fuel you to reach your full potential. Now, number one, we have to talk about the base fundamentals of lust, right? And what happens if it's unchecked. Now, a lot of you know, right? Lust is something that you can go after so many different partners, right? There's so many different, honestly, right, attractive people out there, right? So you see all these things, and man, it just makes your mind explode, right? You're like, oh, there's one, there's one. And what happens is, and you see it a lot of times, when men are not careful, right, with these type of things, what happens, right? You have a baby mother here, a baby mother here. You have kids all over the place, and literally it can destroy you, destroy your financial future, destroy your future in general. You could have problems, right, with, having problems with the baby mother, right, not being able to see your kids, right? All of these different problems can kind of arise of you not being on point with your habits, right? And with just overall you controlling your own urges, right? And think about the downside. It could literally destroy careers. People could talk bad about you, right? And obviously your reputation does matter. And a lot of times, right, you don't think about the negatives that can come with it, right? You don't think about what can actually happen, but all it takes is one mess up, and that could literally destroy your life, right? And one of the most important decisions you can have is who you choose to have children with. That's literally one of the most important decisions in your entire time on this earth. Now, number two, lust is raw power waiting for direction. Now, if you've ever gone for a decent amount of time on a streak, here's what you'll notice, and I've noticed this every single time. You get up there a couple weeks and it's almost like you have this fire inside of you. And I always like to describe it as literally fire in the palm of my hands. Like I can feel how much energy I have. It's just like I'm radiating with energy. And of course, what does that mean? It means that you have an opportunity to use this power and fire for whatever you want, right? And in this case, of course, if you're watching this, you're probably an ambitious man who wants to reach his full potential, knows he's capable of a lot. And in this case, what can we do with this energy? We can literally take it and transmute it to other things, right? And a lot of people talk about this. Napoleon Hill, if you guys know him, he talked about it in one of his books as well, where you can literally take that energy and use it to achieve the outcome that you want, right? So whether that's making money, right, getting fit, right, whatever you want, maybe it's a promotion, any of those things, right, you can do what you want with it. But you have to understand that lust in and of itself, a lot of times, it can be neutral, right? And you are the one that attaches the action to it. And you can use that action and that energy to literally achieve your goals and things you never thought were possible, right? Think of it like you have fire, right? And what can you do? You can burn down the house or you can light up a city, but the choice is yours. Now, number three, pain as a turning point. Now, this one is tough, right? Because what happens is a lot of times with lust, right? The thing that makes people change is a pain point. What was that thing, right? That made you change and actually, allowed you to change. And all of you that are watching this, either this has happened to you, or you've had a pain point, or it's going to happen to you. Now, personally, right, one of my biggest pain points, and for a lot of men, they go through this arc, is a breakup arc. You were talking to a girl for a while and something happened with her. Things pretty much got broken off. You don't talk to her anymore, and it does something to you. It puts you in that mode to where you're like, I have to change my life. I have to, be successful. I have to get in shape. No one's going to be able to, either make the comment or treat me any type of way. And personally, for me, I always tried to look at it and said, man, I'm going to make sure that she regrets what she did, right? I'm going to make sure that she regrets that. No one's ever going to cross me like that because I have something to prove, And personally, for me, it was where, something like that happened. I got ghosted. And basically, I was hurt. I said, man, how could somebody do this to me? Right? Like, I feel like I'm on point. And obviously not on point with everything, because you guys have heard some of my story, right? But I'm like, how could somebody just be so cold-hearted and leave? And you got to remember, especially in modern society, right? Women have millions of options, right? All right, I'm over exaggerating, but they have a lot of options. And man, if you have one problem, right, one thing that you still got to figure out, of course, with the lust, right, comes corn and all these other things, right, performance issues. Man, if you can't figure out these things, she will go to the next option, right? She's not going to wait for you, because of course her window of time is much different than yours. But what happened in this moment, right, and when I got ghosted, it really made me think and sit about my situation and really reflect and look in the mirror and see that, man, there's an area here, and of course it's with the lust and the corn, where I really felt like I made no progress in such a long period of time. I'm like, how am I still stuck in the same place? And of course that's when things kind of got shut down as well. I ended up going home and I just went hard. I went hard, and it fueled me. It changed the man that you're looking at in the mirror, right? It changed the cloth that I came from, because I always had ambition, but it was like every single day I'm hitting the gym. I had another YouTube channel. Again, I did over 50 million views, 6+ figures, and that was literally from lust, and I allowed it. And this is a personal story of how it fueled me to achieve those type of results. And that's what really energized me, because every day I'm like, man, I'm going to make sure she regrets that. And I honestly could thank her for it now, looking back at it, because what this does is it allows you to be a different caliber type of man. Because what happens is, a lot of times, right, when things kind of break off and something happens, it's not always your fault, right? But in this case for me, right, it was my fault, and it was something I definitely could have changed. And in this case, what it did was it made me raise the standard. It said, you know, I'm not going to be able to operate in relationships or anything like that at this standard. I need to get better, right? And for a lot of you, right, you've been stuck, right, watching corn. You have performance issues, and you've been in the same place for years, time and time again. You're relapsing, and you just can't figure out. Well, I've gone 470 plus days on NoFap, even cured the corn-induced ED, all of these things. And what it allowed me to do was become that type of man that I always wanted to become. If you're interested in achieving your full potential, man, click the link in the description down below. Now, number 4, lust fuels action through discipline. And I always say this, that it's way easier to be disciplined when you already are, retaining. Let's just call it what it is, right? Because the discipline that you have, that's one of the hardest things, right? The two hardest things. These are two of them, right? What you eat, and of course, lust, right? Those are the two hardest things to control. So if you literally think about it, right? If you're able to control one of these things, literally everything else becomes easy. It's easy to work on the business. It's easy to get my push-ups in today, right? It's easy to do all of these things because you're already doing the work. You're literally using the energy, right? That we've been given, right, to achieve those type of things, right? Because at the end of the day, right, we were put on this earth, or one of the reasons why is to reproduce, right? If you just look at it from the basics, right? And what happens is we were given, right, these emotions and this energy so that we can become the type of man to reproduce with the type of woman we want, basically, right? And in this case, what happens is, right, you have this energy, and it just makes it easier. I'm telling you, you could even go a week, and probably a lot of you know, right? You literally are. It's not even difficult to put in the work once you have this habit in check. But when your energy is all over the place, right? You're on instant gratification. You're scrolling TikTok, doing all these things. Man, you really don't have that type of control, and it's that much harder, right? It feels like it's a chore to actually put in the work when, if you think about it. Naturally, if you weren't getting these dopamine spikes, that's the type of man that you would want to become, right? That's the type of man that you can, because you've gone, a day or two here, and you know that it's possible, but you're just kind of stuck right now. And number 5, redirection creates a new identity. So what happens is, when we're becoming this type of person, right, that's putting in the work, right, we show up daily, we're working out, we have good habits. And I always like to say, and I've heard this other places, is the habits you have is a reflection of the type of man you are. And you really got to ask yourself, what type of man do I want to become, right? Do I want to have a family? Do I want to have kids? Do I have other people in my life that are looking up to me? What type of man do I want to be for those people around me? Right? And when you keep those promises that you make to yourself about, all right, I'm going to be on point. I'm going to achieve this. I'm going to achieve that. What happens is you're creating a new identity, right? Because you have to think about it. When you're going through this transition and this shift, you're literally becoming a different person. It's almost like, these reptiles when they have a shell and their shell kind of comes off and they form into basically they're getting rid of the old shell. And that's kind of what you're doing, because you've been in a position where you're not operating at 100%. There's energy leaks is what we'll call it. And what happens is all we're trying to do is fill those gaps for you, right? And once those gaps do get filled, you literally have the fuel necessary to achieve the outcome that you want to achieve, right? And it really gives you that foundation. So again, I always talk about it. You can control your time, energy, and attention where you want it to go, right? So you really stack those wins and you stop being the guy that's stuck, right, in this loop for weeks, months, years, and becomes who you really were meant to be. Now, number 6, the unstoppable effect, right? Now, unchecked lust can literally destroy your life. You can have kids all over the place, child support, you can ruin your life. You can get, different diseases, all these different things. You could literally destroy your life, right? You've seen kingdoms get destroyed by lust, right? Literally. But harnessed, right, and using that energy can literally make you, right, ambitious, relentless, have that drive, that dog that is in you, that you just need, you just want to unlock it. It's like a key. And sometimes you've unlocked it, but the lock changed on you. And a lot of times you can't figure it out. And the choice at the end of the day is yours, what you want to choose, right? It's lust and being in control, or staying stuck in the same place and, you just literally living a life full of regret. But the choice is yours at the end of the day. And you're the only one who can make that decision, right? You're the only one who can really change and, form into the type of man that you want to become and have those type of habits. But at the end of the day, man, you have to make the decision. If you're ready to make a decision and really switch things up, click the link in the description. And if you like these type of videos, man, click this video on the screen to learn more.